Welcome back to DataDash, everybody. My name is Paul Sampson, and today is Tuesday, November 11th of 2025. And a question going around right now is the Bitcoin bottom in? Is the bottom in for some of the other cryptos, as well as Ethereum, the stock market, all these things, right? So I want to cover the Bitcoin price action and Ethereum specifically today, and really just looking at the daily time frame here as we start the video off. You could see that we spent a lot of time pretty much in this region right here. We basically ranged around for what was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 days, almost a week here, before we started off yesterday with a nice move above this key level that we've been looking for. I'm going to discuss the relevancy here and what we want to see in the coming days here, what the key supports are locally that we could come down to and still seek out some higher price action, and what the key levels are below us, which, if you've been following, still remains this $97,800 area. So the two key levels that I've been on about for the last few weeks, at least, definitely heavily last week as we were looking to see which way price action would start to head, was this area up above us, which is 104,700, and then the area down below us at 97,800. So at the time of recording, at least for now, we've effectively front ran this 97,800, which is comprised of two high time frame averages, which is very likely to be met at more than likely in the second 6 months of this year, so before the end of this year now. But even if not, it's just a very big average that is likely to come down to in the nearish future. So even if we walk into Q1 of next year, for example, and that's still untapped, it's no guarantee by any means, but just something that everybody should be aware of and have on their radar, right? So front running it like this, I highlighted in the last video that I did on Thursday how we've done that in the past. We actually front ran a really high time frame average, very similar to this in the beginning of 2025 this year. We then saw a huge rally to the upside for a couple weeks, and then a month or two later, we ended up coming all the way back down and meeting that high time frame average. So that 97,800 is still very much on my radar. It's just going to be, can we see some more upside here first? Now, right now we're seeing a little bit of a decline here in Bitcoin's price. It is Tuesday. We've got our Monday range that basically we just came up and took our high for Monday. We've effectively taken the low as well. And more than likely, we're probably making our way down towards this daily level of support. All right. So right about 102,250, right? If I had to guess. It's not too far away from where we are now. See if we get any kind of support around that region and get the reclaim back above this area, right? It's very crucial, folks, that we get back above this 104,700, preferably at the end of today. But either way, we need to start seeing daily closes above here. This was a nice sign. We did close just up at it on Sunday, but then yesterday we had a nice daily close above. Today, obviously, we're coming back a little bit for some regions down below us. More than likely, we have some volume data down below, our weekly averages, stuff like that, just left from last week. But 102,200 is the next likely support area that I'd be looking to. And if we look at the higher time frame here, however, our weekly candle on Bitcoin, you can see wicked all the way down below and then effectively came up and closed right at that 104,700. Okay, so it's what you want to see. However, this week now we have to be weary of a previous week low sweep, right? The old sweep the low and go. So something to just kind of be aware of. Again, as long as we're below 104,700, more downside can be had. And then if we were to really get down under this 97, some sizable downside could be had. Okay. So for this week, we're really looking at two levels at the time being, which is that 102,250 more locally. After that, it's taken out last week's low and effectively coming and meeting this average. All right. And then as far as any upside, what we want to see the price action get back above and living above 104,700. At that point, we have a sizable move back up to the upside. I target this region at least, this 112 to 114. And then at that point, we'll kind of gauge and see how it is. But this could really set off a sizable move back up to potentially 120,000, right? Something along those lines. But really don't want to overlook that 112 to 114, okay? Again, just similar to how we have these high time frame averages likely to be met in the following session. These are higher time frame than this one, but this is a smaller version, and that is a likely area to be met in the month of November. We're just about 2 weeks into the month now, so it doesn't have to be right on the first or anything like that, but this is a very likely area to come back to. Again, all starts when we start really closing back above this 104,700. Ethereum also has a monthly target for the month of November up here at 39.68. And one thing I was looking for last week was that we were coming down, obviously making a lower move here as we came down all the way to about $3,000. And the one thing I wanted to see was if we were to close the week back above our yearly open. All right, that was pretty crucial in my eyes to see any type of local strength here, that we could see a move back up at least towards that 3,900 again, see how Bitcoin's reacting at that time, and then see if we can get a push back up towards some of these highs. We did end up scooting all the way back up to this 0.382 back at 35.77. So for the week we closed there. We're obviously again getting a little pull down right here, but you can see how these weeks can go all the way down to these lower levels here and then actually finish off pretty strongly. So currently we're just seeing these smaller pullbacks here, similar to Bitcoin. ETH has some daily levels of support down here at about 3,300 and 3,400. So coming down to test some of those areas would be nothing as well. Still putting in basically some local higher highs, potentially some higher lows before we get that next jaunt up. And that key level for Ethereum to me, folks, is still going to remain the yearly open. Okay, so sitting here about 3,300. So we're definitely flirting around it right now. And as long as we're closing above it, holding above it on the higher time frames, I think that we have no reason to not see at least a move back up towards this 3,900 in the coming weeks here. And then if not, if we flip this region, which is also a high time frame VWAP, right? So this is our quarterly VWAP coming in right there, high time frame average of price. That's a big level. If we end up flipping that into support, that could really set us up for the next leg higher as well. And at that point, I would imagine fresh highs to be met. $5,000 ETH and then some. Okay, so all comes down to really holding around this 3,300. Again, we've done it on the weekly now, our daily time frame. So we're holding and consolidating in this region, which is interesting to me because aside from the technicals here of holding these areas, if we look at a little bit of the fundamentals for Ethereum, I want to point out that we have another major upgrade occurring, which is the Fusaka upgrade, which is going to enhance Ethereum's ability to handle transactions. And that upgrade is occurring around December 3rd. So again, maybe a couple weeks from now. And I want to point out that the last upgrade, Pectra, came out on May 7th of this year. And I just want to look and see what the price action did at that time. So this was actually May 7th right here. Pectra went live, and that is when we got the next major leg up out of Ethereum. So I don't always think that those are correlated as far as some of those upgrades and updates go to the point where it's just a guarantee we're going to see upside. But it is interesting to note yet again that we saw something along those lines after we had a huge decline and a small little burst up, right? This was actually a pretty decent little push up off of the lows. We were up about 30%, all right? And went on to continue higher from there. So here again, we've seen a sizable push to the downside. Currently, we're trading at about 16% off of the current low at least. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind, be aware of here. I would say that again, as far as the technicals go, holding this region here, it looks to me like we're consolidating here at some key support and does still offer up the likeliness to get a push higher here, okay? Line in the sand, however, is that 3,300. And then again, we've got December 3rd coming up in just a few weeks where we're getting that Fusaka upgrade. Will it push the price higher? Yet to be seen here, right? But we could very easily get a little consolidation for the next couple weeks here, or even get a little push higher, similar to what we did here, another 15% maybe, which 15% from where we are now puts us right at that monthly pivot, which is the average of price likely to be met in November. And we could easily see something like this where we push up to this in the next few weeks, maybe towards that Thanksgiving dinner. That December 3rd comes around, we go live with Fusaka, we flip that region and we continue up, right? So that's just something to be aware of. We just saw something like that right back here, 30% slow move to the upside after a huge decline, okay? So huge decline, might get a slow little push back up, hitting some key averages, very technical reason to come back to that. Need to flip it. And then if we flip that along with the news and the upgrade going live, I think that has the gas to push us up into these areas. If you'd like more updates like this from me, all my analysis, setups, educational content pieces, and more, be sure to join us over at datadashpro.com. You see it up here at the top left of the screen. You can find it down in the description area below. You also get access to Nicholas Merton's monthly Dash report with that subscription as well. Hope you all have a great remainder of your day wherever you are. I'll see you all in the next video. And until then, everybody, cheers.